What's up, Cooksy Mob? Super duper round 2 is in the books. And I know a lot of people weren't happy with the track, but I loved it. I love when they throw things at these teams that they're not ready for. These teams expected a Monster Cup style track. That was not Monster Cup. That was like a straight outdoor national style track. This was what they used to do when they originally brought, so little history for you guys. When they brought Supercross in the stadiums, yeah, they called it Supercross, but really all they were trying to do is bring outdoor motocross into the stadiums. So they tried to make the tracks as motocross as possible. And then people liked the jumps, and it got to the sport that it is now, where it's just super technical. It is advanced. It's almost like a throwback. We went back to the days of David Bailey and Johnny O'Mara when they were racing Daytona and Talladega, and they're running the track across like the pit lane and, you know, burying tires and logs, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff. And I like it. I like it. It's really cool. It's fun. I like that the teams didn't quite know what to do for the setup. It's challenging. It's something different, and it's exciting. So I welcome it. So don't hit me with the track sucks, because I thought the track was great. I loved it. I did laugh, man. Okay, guys, I know I'm trying not to make fun of Ricky, but I can't help it. When I hear him talk, it's awful. He reminds me of this.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future.
I was just Googling announcers to see what was out there, and I think I found the guy that trained Ricky.
Beth, Coach, it's a pleasure to be with you guys here on the field from up close, just watching Coach Vance Joseph from here. You watch him now on the screen. This diversity in his background is helping him a lot tonight. Quarterback at Colorado, defensive back in the NFL, and here he is having the time of his life.
Okay, I'm kidding when I say all that, but listen to this sentence and tell me that this is not probably one of the worst announcers in all of sports. Like, I'm surprised that mainstream hasn't grabbed this and just kind of poked fun at him. It's that bad in my opinion. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. You can let me know. This is it for the Ricky talk, but tell me, you honestly listen to this and tell me it makes sense.
Section, and what that track is going to, you know, give an opportunity for the riders to make up more time. There's going to be areas where they can, you know, do different things, hopefully. There's going to be areas where, you know, you're going to have to be precise, not make mistakes.
All right, guys, that's it for the Ricky talk. I'm off of Relay. Complete Racing Solutions. If you guys want to get in shape, check out Coach Rob's programs. Coach Rob is a badass. He just recovered from a heart attack, and it's a wild story that had to do with the jab. That's what, yes, I know. He had some heart complications, but he's doing good. Listen to the show I did with him and Hopper last Friday. Coach breaks it all down. You'll hear more about it, but he's got programs for everybody, and just his story. I mean, the guy is one of the toughest people I've ever met. Love the guy, and I think you should check out his programs if you want to get in shape and just be inspired by a genuinely badass human being. Hit up Coach Rob. Ride Strapped. Strapped goggles. Guys, we're working on some cool stuff with Strapped. If you want your own business, we're working on, I'm trying to help Chris do a distribution model where we don't use, or he doesn't use, dealers or distributors, and making racers and give back to the community. So hang tight on that. We got some cool stuff in the works, and I hope it comes through. If you guys are going to ship anything, ship it with Precision Transport. Precision Transport is a trucking company that doesn't screw you around. And if you want to make your garage look badass or make it look as cool as, you know, the shop at Club MX, hit up Epic Garage Designs. Just go to the website, check it out. Cabinets, flooring, slat wall, whatever you need, they got it. So check out those guys. And then if you need real estate, hit me up. I will buy, or like if you're buying, selling, or leasing in the Las Vegas area, I got you covered. If you're anywhere else in the country, let me know and I'll get you set up with a Berkshire & Hathaway agent that will dial you in.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Okay, before I get into the 450s and Jett doing what he did, and right now I'm kind of the raw emotion. Right now, my raw emotion, I'm a little pissed about what Jett did. So, actually, I'm going to start with the 450s because that's why it's time, and this sucks to do this, but it's a new series. So they got 2 motos. They're not paying points per moto. It is overall. So Jett, God, he's so smart. He understands what he's doing. He didn't want that kind of pressure. I mean, he's done this in outdoor nationals all season. He does exactly what he needs to minimize risk, and that's exactly what he did tonight. Roczen was riding really good, pushing him, and he would have had to go to a level that he didn't feel like going to, knowing that he had the overall. If it was for the overall, Jett digs deep and fights him and probably wins, but he understands the situation, and he's got such a, like his understanding and his ego let him do this to be the best. It's a really unique thing. Like I said, James and Ricky in their heydays, they never would have done that. Bob Hanna never would have done that. But he's different. It's like the new age. But he's still, like, you can't take anything away from him. He won, got all the points, got all the money. He understood. He's working the system the way it's set up. But maybe we go first round, like this, where it's 25 points. Second round, you go 25 on each moto. So it's something we can revamp. It's the first year, but Jett just put a focus on a giant hole in the point system. And hey, that's what good racers do. They exploit the system and make, they win. And that's what he did. So I really can't knock it, but I was disappointed. I felt like Chase kind of mailed it in that second moto. But he got third, and we're set up for, it's winner take all. Him or Jett, whoever wins in LA is going to be your super duper motocross champion. And I'm excited. And that track looks cool, like full supercross on half of it. Then they go up the peristyle, then back down into this giant sand rhythm. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited about it. And I love that the teams aren't quite sure what to do. They're like, well, I think it's Supercross, but we're not positive. So they have to bring extra suspension and just be ready to change things on the fly. I love it. Next year, they'll have a kind of a blueprint, but this first year, it's really cool the way they're doing that. So anyway, Ken Roczen rode his ass off. I picked him earlier in the day. I was pumped after him in timed qualifying. I went on Instagram, picked him to win. And then the 250s, and he didn't win, but he got the second moto and pushed Jett further than he wanted to go. Plessinger rode his ass off. How about filthy Phil Nicoletti leading it? I love it. The green lights are the best thing that has ever happened to Phil Nicoletti. Whenever they came up with the leader lights, he has probably used more leader lights than most guys. Phil Nicoletti is just a gift to this sport that keeps on giving, and it was awesome to see him out there running up front and battling and riding really good. But guess what, Phil? They're not going to change the rules. I love that if you don't qualify in the top 20, you got to do the LCQ every week. Phil's not happy about it, but shocker, Phil's not happy. So in the 250s, that first moto, guys, how many of you guys thought Deegan was going to run away with it? Because I sure did. I mean, he was flying, but he had some bad lines. How about that line where he would quad off that little turn jump, and then he would go outside before Talladega, before they go up the banking. The outside up the banking, he was just getting killed. He was just getting demolished right there. But sometimes it's hard when you're out front. You don't see the new lines that other guys are taking. I think he kind of shot his wall, but he rode his ass off. And we're set up for it. And even on the podium, he went Deegs. He's like, the Deegs is going to send it. I'm like, oh, dude, this guy is the gift. Hayden Deegan is good for this sport. Love him or hate him, you pay attention to him. That's it, period. The question is, how'd the race go? What did Deegs do? That's where we're at now. So Hunter Lawrence got right back in this thing like the boss that he is, and he rides so good, so smart. He's such a mature. Him and Jett, they're thinkers. Like I said, they're manipulating rules. You make rules, they work within the rules, and they kick ass. So, yeah. Him and Joe Schmoda. Joe Schmoda, such a bummer that he had the bike issue in that second moto. It looked like he was going to win this thing. But he hung on. Second overall. That's a 1-2. And if he wins LA, he's the champion. I do think he's going to be disappointed going to that Honda next year. But yeah, Justin Cooper. I'm so disappointed in Justin Cooper. Guys, I really thought he was going to be one of the top guys in this super motocross, but even on this track that was totally outdoors, which is kind of his specialty, I mean, he looks like a guy who doesn't want to be there. Looks like a guy who's planning his wedding, and I'm a big Justin Cooper fan, and maybe that's why I'm so extra disappointed, but his head just doesn't look like it's in it. I don't know if something's going on with him in injury-wise. I don't know, but that's not a good look for J. Coop, especially, ending out his 250 career. It's kind of weird. It's almost like if you finish so badly on the 250, maybe he just wants to get to the 450 next year. Maybe his mind's already checked out. I don't know, but it's not a good look, so... Tom Vial was flying out there, and this is one of those tracks that, like, in Europe, they do this in the MXGPs when they do the flyaways, those tracks, and I said he'll be good because he's been on conditions like this, and that's what this was. It looked just like an MXGP flyaway track where they just build a temporary track somewhere in Abu Dhabi or wherever they build it. So he's familiar with these types of situations and rode really good, and it looked like he was going to get up there and battle, and he was in third. He looked like a for sure podium, which would have left him right there points-wise. He would have been in contention for some, who knows? Who knows? When triple points is the next round, you never know. Yeah. And then the super minis, guys. I love having these super minis out there because you forget how treacherous they actually are when you see guys with 8-kit suspension over jumping and just being able to case stuff. But when you see a little super mini case it and you see the consequences of casing it, you realize, oh my God, this is some dangerous stuff. My best goes out to Canyon Richards. I haven't heard if he's okay or not. He was in second, looking really good, and it really tugged on my heartstrings because Canyon Richards, I follow him on Instagram. He's a great follow. It's Canyon Richards. But they were telling a story about him and his dad were going to drive all night to the GNCC race the next day, or the whatever off-road race they were doing. But I was like, it brought me back. My dad and I did that. I raced the Greeley Supercross on a Saturday night, and then we jammed. Well, I slept in the back of the truck while my dad drove all night long to get us to Price, Utah the next day, and then we raced Price, Utah. So it kind of brought me back. So I had a really soft spot for him and his dad and driving in the van, and it just brought back some good feelings, and I did like to see those guys out there. So anyway, guys, remember, subscribe, and man, I cannot wait. I don't know about you guys, but I am just praying to the moto gods that Hayden Deegan ghost rides a win next weekend. That would be the most epic thing in the history of motocross. Maybe not in the history of motocross, but for me, I would go out of my chair. So the chances of it happening are slim, but man, I hope it does. So anyway, guys, thanks, and I will catch you later.